Come on.
I think it's important that we remember. I think it's important that we show that we remember. Because we remember 2008 and the aftermath, the years it took us to recover, if we managed it at all. We remember not once did we see Griffin show any remorse or concern for any one of us or the teachers' pension in 2008. We remember none of them, not one, showed any remorse for their negligence and their greed. These experts and these bosses of these banks, they couldn't take Dr. Michael Berry's money quick enough, only to then see that he was actually correct. We remember that none of them were held accountable, that none of them came out and said sorry to those who had lost their pensions, or their jobs, or their families, or their hope. Not one of them. We remember Occupy Wall Street and that picture of them swigging champagne and laughing together whilst they looked down on us all. We remember it was the same banks behind the market crash that ended up bailed out at our expense. We remember. We remember being told the Fed had to give the banks $3 trillion in bailouts, our money in bailouts. They told us that 2 years after, because the Fed can do something today and not declare it for 2 years. We then got told in 2019, because they got a further agreement to hold back for 10 years before declaring where they were spending our great-grandkids' money, your money, my money, our children's money. 10 years before they actually declared, it was $29 trillion in bailouts for these banks, these suits, these experts, the people telling us today there's no crash. We ain't got a recession. We want to change the rules. We're going to lie to the people again. We remember. We remember the bankers being questioned, all lined up in front of Congress, the lip service that we were given. We remember the bankers being questioned by Congress about the dog shit that they had told their own employees to unload on us, retail, us, pension funds. We remember. We remember the email that was sent internally that was questioned by Congress of these banks and what they were saying. And we remember them squirming and sitting there and not telling the truth and not coming out and apologising or changing. We remember the rating agency bosses also pulled in and sat in front of our congressional hearings, our Congress, the people that are meant to be representing us. Both sides, all sides. We remember. One after another, when questioned about the AAA ratings, their response, their sole response was, it was just their opinion. That's what the rating agencies said, and we remember. We remember the closure of Lehman's banks, only to find out that the CEO had received over $650 million just left and went on to work elsewhere in the same industry. Yeah, nothing changed. We remember seeing all the pictures of foreclosures across America. We know that was families. We know that was people. We know that was us. They weren't losing their mansions, their art, their plane. That was us. We did nothing wrong. We remember. We remembered the austerity that we had to endure, the cutbacks to services for those who needed it most, the most vulnerable in our society, the lonely old age pensioner who'd worked their entire lives that needed somebody to pick them up, to take them for an hospital visit, take them to the social centre where they could mix with people. We remember. We remember that austerity, and we remember the sacrifice that we had to make. We never asked. We weren't asked. We were lied to. It was just taken. Our inflation, our prices, our housing market crash. Oh, the market crashes is what it does. But your pensions, unless you're unlucky, Other people benefited with their pensions. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. So we remember that there were pay freezes for millions and millions of people. We remember the people who deserved them most didn't get them. But the banks got richer, the hedge funds made more money, the super rich got richer, and we all got poorer. Yeah, we remember. We remember Paulson, an expert, leaving one side to go and work on the government, not paying nearly 50 million in tax because we needed him, the world needed him, the US needed that man in that position. We remember Bernanke. Oh, God. The same playbook they're using today. There's not going to be a recession. There's not going to be a market crash. Well, people like Dalio have been calling a market crash for a while. So have people like Burry. And we remember them saying there's a problem, there's an issue. We remember Ron Paul back in the 70s, 80s, 90s saying there's a problem with the Fed. There's a problem with printing money. Yeah, we remember. We remembered when they wheeled Buffett out years after the crash of 2008 as a PR exercise for Wall Street. And what he said, people that shouldn't have had a mortgage shouldn't have got it. People that didn't have a good enough job shouldn't have had it. We never made up the ninja loans. We never allowed 5 strippers to own the houses and a condo. We remember them saying buy Enron. We remember them saying buy this IPO and that IPO, only to watch it tank. We never see banks going bankrupt, but we did see us becoming bag holders. We remember them telling everyone over and over again last year, sell AMC, sell GME, sell this one, sell that one. What about AMC when they were saying sell in February, March, April, May? Well, if you listened, you would have missed out on that. If you listened to the experts, the Stoops, if you listened to all these brilliant people on mainstream media, you wouldn't have bought AMC. Well, you didn't get a chance to make a few quid, maybe cover a few bills, put a few quid in the bank for rainy days. Because you listen to mainstream media. Kramers and Gasparinos. Come on now. We remember Citadel's growth through payment for order flow and Robinhood. We remember who came up with payment for order flow. Go and have a look. Go and have a look at Bernie Madoff. He ain't the only one. Citadel didn't want payment for order flow until they got into position, and look how they've grown. We remember them taking the buy button away last year. We remember Vlad coming out saying when he was a boy in Bulgaria. We remember them hearings and nothing's changed. We remember the SEC coming out now. Gary Gensler, you've been saying for a year payment for order flow. Why ain't it stopped? Why ain't it changed? Why ain't you paused it? Why ain't you using the rules you've actually got today? We remembered that it was the same Citadel that was publicly against payment for order flow. Now look at it. 2014 he said that. We remember Robinhood being pushed before its IPO. Thankfully, a lot of us that were paying attention and not listening to mainstream media steered well clear of that. But we remember the experts in suits saying it was a buy, and then we watched that tank as well. We remember the so-called expert Jim Chanos, a very well-known short in the industry, dismissing naked shorting, saying it was just CEOs who don't want the criticism. We remember it all. We have not left, and we are not leaving. We remember nothing has changed. We remember the cost that cost us. We remember it's caused by them. We remember our sacrifice was in vain. We remember, so we were prepared. We remember it all, and we ain't leaving.